Hi, everybody. I'm Ann Murata with Modern Salon, and I'm so happy to be across in virtual space here with Shelby Bettencourt. And Shelby is going to be joining us at our Independent Salon boot camp. This is taking place in Miami on May 22nd. And Shelby is going to be presenting a topic called Boundaries and Breathwork. So we're going to just do a quick little sneak peek talking about what are boundaries, why breath work. But first, Shelby, can you give us a little introduction to who you are and what you do and where you work?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me. My name is Shelby Bettencourt. I am a salon owner, a hairstylist behind the chair. I am the host of the Healthy, Wealthy Stylist podcast. I am also a breathwork facilitator and an educator and coach for the beauty industry. My salon is located in Wynwood, Miami. I just recently reopened my salon at the beginning of this year. So really exciting to have a business here, have a storefront. I hire all independent stylists. So I feel like this is this event is so needed in Miami and is needed throughout the salon industry. But I'm really excited to be sharing boundaries and breathwork because both of them have changed my life and my business.
Oh, I love hearing that. And I'm glad you agree that Miami's going to be a great place for this location. So boundaries, when you talk about boundaries, what do you mean?
So when I think of boundaries, I think that they are systems that are set in place to help you be more free in your business. So they're rules that you make that you don't have to announce these rules. So these rules are like for you. So they're like little reminders of like, okay, this is when I communicate with clients. This is what I leave at the salon. This is what I take home. This is what I leave at home. All of those things that we typically have in a salon setting. But our bosses are the ones who create these boundaries. So for me, it changed when I became independent and I realized oh, wow, I need some boundaries around especially my client communication, my hours. I needed to know what made me feel good in my business, and my clients needed to know how to work with me. So my boundaries have helped both those situations become a little more clear. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. And it's what you said, you don't have to communicate that with your client necessarily, but this is what you put in place for sort of your own sanity and wellness, that this is when I'm on, this is when I'm off. There's also boundaries that you probably do need to communicate with a client occasionally, but communicating those, sticking with those, that's another thing, feeling safe doing that.
Yes.
Um, again, you describe them as systems. So are there things that you've put in place in your business that help you communicate to your client and sort of say, this is how I work and it's not up for negotiation?
Yes, absolutely. And here's the thing, clients want to know how to work with you. They like us. Like as independents, well, as salon professionals, whether you're a barber, a nail tech, a hairstylist, our clients really want to make us happy because they like us. So when it comes down to having these boundaries, it's not that you're coming from a bad place. You're coming from a place of this is what fills my cup, this is how I run my business, and your clients will work around that. And if they don't, then they're just not aligned. So the way that I've used my boundaries is first and foremost, my biggest boundary has been my salon hours. And I think that as an independent, this can be a very blurry line. So when do I work? How many hours a week do I work? When am I going to come in for a client and when am I not? So by having this boundary of hey, I only work these certain days and these certain hours, that is the most important boundary to me, because I know if I blur that line or I do more than what I know I'm capable of doing, it affects my work. And it affects how I feel behind the chair. It affects how my clients feel it affects our relationship all around. So something as easy as my working hours being a boundary and communicating it hey, these are the days I work. I'm sorry, I don't work on Sundays or I don't work on Saturdays. But I do work these days. Can we work around that? Clients understand, they get it. They understand hours. So it's not like we're creating something, out of the blue. We're just saying, hey, this is the time that I work, or this is how I operate my business. And they'll work with you.
You're right. And they do want, I mean, I think we're all sort of human beings. We kind of want to know what are the rules, as I go in, because it provides this framework that you feel comfortable with. And that all makes so much sense. And I love that you're going to kind of dive deeper into that and maybe share times when you didn't have boundaries in place and what happened, or,
Yes, for sure.
and then how you decide what boundaries are right for you, because maybe that requires a little self-discovery. But then breath work. As I said when we were talking earlier, I said, wow, the concept that we need to know, to be taught how to breathe, or not taught necessarily, but just coached a little bit on why breath is important, why connecting to your breath is so important. So do you mind sharing a little bit about how you even got into that, why it piqued your interest?
Yes, absolutely. So when we're talking about breath work is just any form of intentional breathing. So even by let's all take a pause right now. Let's just take a deep inhale through our nose. Ready? Breathe in through your nose. Hold at the top. Breathe out through your mouth like you're blowing out through a straw. Do it again. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out through your mouth. So something as simple as that is breath work. It's a matter of connecting to yourself. We have breath with us and we can't survive without it. So breath work has changed my life. It has allowed me to feel safe when I don't feel safe. It's allowed me to connect with myself on a deeper level. It's allowed me to feel more. And when I think of feeling more, I think of being more human, because we are human and feelings are what make us human. So we are one of the only beings that can control our breath. So I think it's really beautiful that when we take these deep inhales and we slow down just a little bit, we can feel so much better. And I think it's really, really cool that you can alter your mood without any other source. So you don't need, any type of liquid or any food or anything external. You can just change how you feel in as little as a few deep breaths. And that is a tool that you can use in and out of the salon to feel better. And I think that as hairstylists, we talk about burnout, we talk about anxiety, we talk about all these things that happen. And it is things that happen to us. And especially when we're independent, we are the boss. We're the ones who have to have that hard conversation. We're the ones who have to think about money and think about how we're making money and why the systems and the boundaries that we put into place, why they're important, and how to feel safe when enforcing this. And by feeling safe, you can connect with your breath, with your body, without any external source. So breath work has changed my life. And I was introduced to it by one of my coaches, Elizabeth Fay, and she changed my life. And becoming a facilitator has been the best thing that I ever did, because now I can teach other people how to feel safe in their body without needing anything else, because we can all breathe. We all know how to breathe. We've done it our whole lives, right? But how many times do you think oh my God, I'm so anxious, or I have this really hard conversation, or I just had this really hard conversation and I don't know what to do and I'm feeling out of control. Well, here's a tool that you can use at any point of the day, at any time, to just connect and feel and ground yourself a little bit more and get out of this chaotic cycle of doing, and trying to find other external things to make us feel better when you have everything that you need. So I think that that's what's beautiful about breath work.
Yes, and it sounds like we all need that moment between when you said we're going to reach for something else. There's that moment, that pause we need to take before we look outside ourselves. Rather, we can look inwards. And I do love that you're going to be able to talk about using it in work, in the salon. And as you said, when you're an independent, all those hard conversations, the complaints, again, setting boundaries. So I completely see how this is very circular and it all connects.
Yeah.
So you're going to be joining us in Miami. We're going to have 30 minutes with you, but how can people connect with you, follow you, watch what you do, and learn more about you?
Well, I live on Instagram. So you can find me on Instagram at shelby.bettencourt. I also have a podcast. It is the Healthy Wealthy Stylist, and that is on both Apple iTunes and Spotify.
Great. Well, Shelby, I can't wait to meet you in person. And thank you so much for taking time to talk to me.
Thank you, Anne. It was such a pleasure.